What do you do and what should you do when you don't feel loved by those who should? Psalms 27 verse 10, the writer says, "When my father and mother forsake me, the Lord will receive me." Psalms 22 and verse 10 talks about the same. The first thing that I think you should know is that there is something like that under the sun. There is something like that in this life, and it is okay. At times it can be for a season, and at times it can take longer. The second thing is that God loves at all times, and people love mostly when it is convenient. But when it is not convenient, very few people love. God loves even when we don't feel His love. A third thing that I think you should know is that the feeling of not being loved has less to do with people's dislike towards a person, but it has more to do with a person's love towards him or herself. When someone loves himself or herself, he hardly have time to notice people's dislike towards him or her. And perhaps a feeling of not being loved is as a result of idleness. The last thing that I think you should know, and that I also think is a solution to a legit feeling of not being loved, is be present, be calm. I like this aspect of God. I am. We are not eternal as God, but we are supposed to be when we are still under the sun. Exodus chapter 3, verse 7 to 8 and verse 13 to 14. God had to release his people from the land of Egypt, whether Pharaoh agreed or not. And he had to do all that was in his power to do for his people to go. And so, even you as a person, with the help of God, you have to do all that is in your power to do, all that God enables you to do, to realize all the good works in you. Ephesians 2:10. Every good work that you have been convinced of, that you need to be living for, you need to realize them whether you are loved or not.